I'm officially scared to see Avengers Doomsday. Unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you've seen all the leaks and teasers coming out about Avengers Doomsday. The thing that everyone is talking about is how Steve Rogers is coming back. Now, I love Chris Evans, but I think this is a big mistake. The MCU has the opportunity to do something really special, something that the comics have failed to do. The MCU has the opportunity to allow characters to grow old, unlike the comics, which can keep characters like Batman or Iron Man the same age for literal decades. The MCU uses actors who age, which in turn allows for the characters on screen to age. A lot of people complain that the comics repeat the same storylines over and over again and are scared of letting characters age or grow over time. We've seen Batman fight Joker thousands of times, Peter and MJ break up hundreds of times, and the Avengers fight Thanos dozens of times. The MCU has the opportunity to introduce new characters, make unique storylines, and just allow the universe to grow with the audience. Unfortunately, this is not the direction the MCU seems to be going in. The return of Steve Rogers indicates to me that the MCU wants to go backwards rather than forwards. This is simply lazy writing. They do not want to spend time and money building new characters, so they are simply bringing back characters they know everyone loves. For the rest of this video, I'm going to analyze the MCU post-Endgame to see where everything went wrong. Let's start with Phase 4. Phase 4 began with some Disney Plus shows, including WandaVision, Loki, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I enjoyed all these shows, and they were pretty well received by critics and fans alike. While these shows were pretty good, they did set a dangerous pattern for future Marvel Disney Plus shows. The pattern is that Marvel Disney Plus shows usually start off pretty good, and then the finale, their last few episodes, just completely flop. I'll talk about this pattern more with other shows. Next in Phase 4 is Black Widow. Black Widow is a solid movie. It just came out a phase or too late in my opinion. This movie did introduce Yelena and the Red Guardian, who are pretty cool characters. We also had the start of What If in Phase 4. What If is just terrible. Okay, I'm being dramatic. There are some great What If episodes, but most of them are boring and not creative at all. What If was a huge disappointment to me and many other fans. Phase 4 introduced Shang-Chi with his solo movie. I think this movie is great and the reviews for this movie were phenomenal. You would think a movie with reviews this good would have a sequel, or at least we would see the characters in the other Marvel media. But we haven't seen Shang-Chi since this movie. Marvel has seriously fumbled the momentum of Shang-Chi. With the success of his movie, he should be pushed way more at Marvel. Now we're going to get into where things went wrong. The Eternals. Now, I actually love The Eternals. I think it's a great movie with amazing visuals, superb acting, and unique characters. Unfortunately, the reviews of The Eternals were not good, at least from the critics. The Eternals also didn't do great at the box office, grossing $400 million with a budget of $270 million. The reason I think this movie is the start of the fall is because it signaled to Marvel that people did not want new creative ideas. People prefer to just watch the characters they already love fight villains they already love. Eternal flopping showed Marvel that the best way to make money is to not to make unique, fresh movies, but to nostalgia bait and rehash already successful ideas. I can talk about Eternals for days, so let's move on to Hawkeye. Hawkeye was another Disney Plus show that I thought was pretty good. While again, the ending for this show wasn't the best, it was a solid enough conclusion that left fans satisfied. Hawkeye introduced Kate Bishop, who immediately became a fan favorite, but she's only been in one post-credit scene since the show released. Next, let's talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. I think No Way Home is the correct way to use nostalgia. It has a solid plot and brings back older beloved characters, but still focuses on the main characters and their relationships. I don't have much to say about this movie, it's just a good and fun film. Let's talk about another Disney Plus show, Moon Knight. Moon Knight was a very unusual and fun show. I love the difference between personalities and the introduction of Khonshu in the MCU. Unfortunately, this show fell victim to the Marvel Disney Plus pattern. The ending sucked. A lot of the main battle happened off screen, and the ending just didn't hit for me. Despite the bad ending, I still think this show deserved another season, and I hope to see Moon Knight in future MCU projects. Let's move on to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If Spider-Man No Way Home is the correct way to use nostalgia, then Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is the incorrect way to use nostalgia. The movie prioritized cameos and nostalgia baiting rather than the building off the first Doctor Strange movie or even WandaVision. I don't know if it's just me, but Doctor Strange had no personality in this movie, and the dialogue seemed off. Still, the movie had some bright spots with the cinematography, and Elizabeth Olsen put on a great performance. I think this film is another important part of the fall of Marvel. It made almost $1 billion at the box office, and I think a lot of people went to the movie purely because of nostalgia. This movie validated to Marvel that nostalgia is the best way to get people to go see your film. Now let's talk about Miss Marvel. I thought Miss Marvel was a great show, and the reviews for it were amazing. Again, I think the show has fallen victim to the Marvel Disney Plus pattern, as the ending is not nearly as good as the rest of the show, but it was good enough to make the show enjoyable. Let's move on to another big point in Phase 4, Thor: Love and Thunder. This movie just isn't good. With questionable visuals, a rushed plot, and humor that doesn't hit, especially compared to Thor: Ragnarok, the only bright spot in this movie is Christian Bale's performance as Gore the God Butcher. This movie hurt the credibility of the MCU and left many unexcited for future projects. Let's talk about the most controversial Disney Plus Marvel show, She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk is another big turning point in Marvel. Now, to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of She-Hulk, but by no means do I think She-Hulk is terrible or deserve nearly all the hate it got. She-Hulk received bad audience reviews, mostly from men who had some misogynistic agenda to push. The reason I think this show is a big turning point is that I believe it changed how Marvel wanted to appeal to its audience. She-Hulk is clearly a show made for the audience of women, which is perfectly fine. Women deserve to have shows catered to them in the superhero genre. But I think the failure of She-Hulk has scared Marvel from fully diving into making content for minorities or more niche communities. Diversity is very important in comics, and the MCU still has the opportunity to make a universe that is diverse and appeals to several demographics, but they may be scared to do so. At the end of the day, the MCU is a business, and they're going to release whatever makes them money. Now I'm going to skip the few irrelevant projects for Phase 4 and just conclude the phase by discussing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I love this film. From the amazing acting to great visuals and unique take on characters, this is one of the best MCU films in my opinion. So, to summarize Phase 4, it had a lot of success with movies like Wakanda Forever, No Way Home, and Shang-Chi. Even Doctor Strange and Thor did well in the box office. Many of the Disney Plus shows were also received well despite the pattern of bad or mediocre endings. We also see more of a focus on nostalgia and cameos in this phase, instead of continuing things that were set up pre-Endgame. The failures of this phase, like Eternals or She-Hulk, seem to be due to the audience's unwillingness to change. This audience doesn't want the MCU to experiment or to be creative, and this has a big impact on Phase 5. Phase 5 starts with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I think this is where Marvel really loses its direction. I really dislike this movie for a ton of reasons, and I'm going to make a whole video just about this movie, but I'll keep it short here. In Phase 4, Marvel was really building up Kang as the next big bad, and I was on board for it. Kang seemed pretty menacing in Loki. I was looking forward to seeing other projects, but Quantumania ruined any momentum that Kang had as being the next Thanos. How can the next big villain lose to Ant-Man? This would have been the perfect time to kill Scott Lang, especially since this actor has been saying he's wanted to stop playing the character, and killing Scott Lang would have made it clear to the audience that Kang is a legitimate threat. The movie had so much potential, but ended up being a Marvel version of Spy Kids 2 with no real stakes. This combined with the Jonathan Major abuse situation left Marvel scrambling on what to do with the next Avengers movie. Marvel does bounce back after this movie with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. This is a great movie that dives to the background of Rocket Raccoon, concludes Gamora and Star-Lord's relationship, and introduces one of the best MCU villains. Let's move on to another controversial Disney Plus show, Secret Invasion. Now, I actually like this show. Well, for the first 5 episodes, then it completely falls off. And the finale completely ruined this show. Secret Invasion should really be a whole phase and not a show, but I was able to excuse that because I love Nick Fury. The show was compelling until the last few episodes when it became clear that they had no idea how to end the show despite the good build-up. This may be a prime example of the Marvel Disney Plus pattern. Good build-up with a terrible ending. The show further hurt Marvel's credibility, leaving fans unsure about future projects. I don't think I've watched a new Marvel show since, so I won't be covering Echo, Agna All Along, or Loki Season 2 in this video. Next, let's talk about The Marvels. Despite mixed reviews, I found this movie to be enjoyable. I really liked the chemistry between the 3 main characters and loved how creative the fight scenes were. The movie was just pure fun, and the post-credit scene was pretty cool. Unfortunately, The Marvels did terrible at the box office. Completely bombed. The film wasn't even that bad, but I think the audience is tired of Marvel releasing mediocre films, and I can't blame them. Let's move on to Deadpool & Wolverine. This film was a huge success, and a movie I personally enjoyed. But are y'all noticing something? Most of the big hits in Phase 4 and 5 have lots of cameos or lean on nostalgia. While Deadpool & Wolverine's a fun movie, it does feel like it leans more on the audience just seeing characters they like, more than actually having a good plot. Again, I like this movie, but this is becoming more common for Marvel films, and I'm scared this is going to happen to Avengers Doomsday. Next is Captain America: New Brave World. I have very mixed feelings about this movie. The first two acts are very good, but the ending is very underwhelming. I think Sam Wilson has the star power to lead his own movie, but Marvel hijacked his movie and made it a sequel to the Hulk movie that no one really cares about. Marvel really disappointed me with the plot of this movie. Instead of building off Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they decided to make the film about another hero's villains. The movie did decent numbers at the box office, but with rumors of a very expensive budget, it probably wasn't very profitable. Let's move on to Thunderbolts. I love this movie, and these are the kind of movies that Marvel needs to keep making. Seeing this movie gave me a little bit of hope for the future of the MCU and their ability to make good movies without the heavy use of cameos. To conclude Phase 5, I'm going to talk about Ironheart. I'm a big fan of Ironheart in the comics, so I was really excited for this show, and it did not disappoint. The visuals were great, the characters were really fun, the plot was intriguing, and the show did not fall victim to the Marvel Disney Plus pattern. The ending to the show was amazing, and I need a second season. Okay, that's the end of Phase 5. Phase 5 had a bad start, and things outside of Marvel's control impacted their future plans. But they still managed to make some good films and end it on a positive note. Where did everything go wrong? Throughout this video, I've highlighted many projects that I think contributed to the problem with Marvel today. Eternals, The Marvel and She-Hulk not being well received despite bringing new and creative ideas to the MCU. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Deadpool and Wolverine leaning on nostalgia and cameos to get people to see the movie instead of a good plot. And lastly, Thor, Ant-Man and Wasp, and Secret Invasion hurt the credibility of the MCU, which led to people being less excited for future projects. Truthfully, I think the audience has to burden a lot of the blame for the path Marvel may be going down, because they didn't support the more creative projects and seem to only get hyped when a movie has cameos. This is why I'm scared for Avengers Doomsday. Marvel has seen so much success by prioritizing cameos and nostalgia over an actual good story. That paired scrambling to replace Kang makes me believe that Avengers Doomsday is just going to be a big fanfic with lots of cameos. I mean, they already cast RDJ. As much as I love RDJ, there is no reason for him to play Doom. Hopefully I'm wrong and Doomsday is a masterpiece that brings decades of Marvel movies together in a way that no one imagined, but I'm highly skeptical. Of course, I'm going to still see the movie because I really love the X-Men. I can't wait to see my GOAT Cyclops back on the big screen. But let me know in the comments, are you guys excited about Doomsday or like me, a bit skeptical? Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.